Alright, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for a new show.
That's right. A place further than the universe.
Ooh, exciting.
Yes.
And this is as a result of a Patreon poll, which is replacing A Devil's a Part-Timer.
Right.
Which was a particularly comedy-focused slice of life thing. And this is like a drama or just
like a drama slice of life, or we're not entirely sure, but it's supposed to be like warm and like have all those warm and fuzzy feelings,
and very happy, good feelings and stuff. And we're ready to feel things. That sounds like
pretty good.
A good time.
Yeah.
There's also been a lot of buzz in particular on this show because it ended recently.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's pretty cool that we get to watch a show so soon after it like actually finishes airing.
Right. Most of the things
it takes a while.
Most of the things that we're watching are like, oh, that's been out for 5 years. Okay, they're finally getting around to it. But this is good. I am ready for a completely new thing. So,
me too. Yeah,
nothing to say. So let's get into it. Water, a boat,
birdies,
calm and adventure music.
Yes.
よどんだ水が溜まっている。 よどみの中で蓄えた力が爆発して、すべてが動き出す。
Usually people would wake up when you put a wet cloth over their face.
Right.
At that point they can't really breathe.
They can kind of breathe.
Penguin.
3, 2, 1. She wakes up.
Yeah, okay.
It's already noon. Wow. Tamaki.
I dreamed I was being suffocated.
お母さんが濡れタオル私の顔にかけて殺そうとするよ。
それは怖かったね。昨日言ったよね、部屋片付けるって。
待ってよ。
Do not open that permission.
Romance novels and
高校に入ったらしたい
maybe doesn't know
こと
completely what she
日
wants to
記
do
を
with
つ
her
け
life.
る
Right.
一度だけ学校を去る果てのない旅に出る
There it is.
Yeah,
Get the most out of youth.
Nah,
Oh
that's-
shoot, that's pretty nebulous. We got fat anime tears.
でだから高2になったのにまだ何もしてないってことに気づいたわけ。中学の時も決まり何もしなかった。だからだよ。高校時代は何かしなきゃって思ってたの。実行しようかと思って。
Oh
東京
my gosh.
Okay.
まずは東京まで行ってそれで当てのない旅に出る。思いのまま漂う。いつ？いた。
Enjoy your trip.
Enjoy your
明
trip.
日？学校をサボって。いいんじゃないの？休むんだよ。ずる休みだよ。だからいいんじゃないの？そのく
It's
ら
not
い。
that big of a
そ
deal.
のくらいってまさか決まりしたことないの？ずる休み。めぐちゃんあるの？あるでしょう。誰だって一度くらい。
She's like trying to do something like.
そういう目で見る。協力はしてあげるからさ。
Do it. Make your dreams come true.
ただい
I like
まー。
Tamaki.
ワクワク
Tamaki's
する。
fantastic.
明日駅のトイレとかで着替えるんだ。で、うわー海だ海だ。
The beach.
だってバレる。
Ah!
どうしたのお姉ちゃん。
She's like all external processing. She
Yeah.
can't like hold in what's inside her. It's great.
ああ、友達から体操着借りてて。
また？
トイレで着替え、学校と反対方向の電車に乗り、いつもの学校から私一人だけが飛び出して果てのない
Yeah.
旅に出る。でここにいる？いやー、雨だし、
I
ずる
chickened out.
休みはいけないかなというか、飛行機落ちるかもしれないし、新幹線大爆発するかもしれないし、隕石落ちてくるかもしれないし。
That's
分か
right.
ってるよ分かってる。じゃあなんでだ？怖くなった？
She needs someone to help give her the extra
ほら
push.
私いつもそうじゃん。じゃあ今度どっ か遊び行く？
She's just so happy and just Tamaki's awesome.
I really like how they're doing the white
what's going on?
For everything. Someone else that's in a rush to go somewhere.
Yeah.
ちょっとこれ
That looks like it could have been money.
And did she, nope, she didn't make it in time.
Yep. Ah! That is a lot of money.
マジか。いくらある？数えたら100万。100万！どうして持ってきた警察だろう。敵が動転してた。
So I think that'd be the equivalent of like $10,000,
本当
right?
に動転してたの。っていうか落としたのうちの学校の制服だったような。
Okay.
そこまでは。
Yeah, it's probably not a first year. That seems a bit unlikely.
この匂い。
Watch, she's gonna be like so depressed that she lost all that money. She's like beating herself up in the closet here.
Let that happen?
Yeah. And they're gonna become fast friends because of all this.
Yeah. I'd be doing that too.
I would be pretty upset as well.
Aww.
And you're gonna be literally her hero right now. Quietly opening and closing.
Nani?
Yeah.
What a good friend! Oh my gosh.
何？
いえ
それ。
いえ実は昨日違うの嘘とかじゃないよたまたま。
ありがとう。
Yeah.
中学の時行方不明になっちゃったけどね。
Oh dang.
そうなんだ。
結局見つからなくて遺品もほとんどないままで。だから私
So
が行
she's
って
been
見つける
saving
の。
that money to make the trip to Antarctica.
いけるの？
みんなそういう。
Oh.
ばあちゃんも友達も
But it.
先生も先輩もずっとバイトしてね。私は行く。
Oh.
絶対に行って無理だって言った全員にざまあみろっ
Yeah.
て言って
There
や
you
る。
go. She's gonna be like, man, I wish I could be like
She's
her.
all inspired and just like,
Yeah.
南極すごいと思わない？
Much farther
地球の
than
一番端っこだよ。
Kyoto.
166
小淵沢白瀬か。
めぐちゃん知ってた
2組の南極って呼ばれてるあの子でしょ。
南極
they call her Antarctica. Whoa.
Dang.
Oh my gosh, wow. Freaking
結
Madhouse.
構有名だ
Of
ぞ。
course.
高校入った時
Why
から
not?
ずっと南極行く南極行くって。それこそ観測隊員にでもならなきゃ無
That is
理。
true. It's not just a matter of grabbing a flight.
さあね。だから
Yeah,
変
there
人
are
って
any
言われている
airports
ん
in
でしょ。
Antarctica.
友達も作らず放課後ずっとバイトして
Yeah, of course.
お金貯めて
You don't fly to Antarctica. You fly to somewhere near Antarctica. You take a boat
Boat,
to
yeah,
Antarctica.
Hence the boat in the opening.
Right.
どっか寄ってく？
ああ今日はちょっと
It all
Into the
seems
library
moot
to
and
learn
like
about how to. Oh, she's picking up
Nice.
the book.
awesome.
It's blue. It stands out amongst all the
Oh, yeah.
dull other ones.
Oh yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
Awesome.
That's so cool. Oh.
Okay, mean girls.
Yep.
We know you have 1,000,000 yen.
札束持ってるらしいじゃん。
Yeah, Tamaki.
少し貸してくんない？ちょっとだけ。
Yes, Tamaki. Go, go, go. You got this. Yes. はは。
小淵沢さん、先生呼んでる。お金のことを聞きたいからって。
本当？
気づくの早いっつうの。ちょっと見かけて話したいこともあったし。
話したいこと？
Holds out the book.
私、あなたのこと応援して。
Yes.
That's awesome.
何か手伝えることない？あったら言って。
じゃあ一緒に行く？
Oh, on the first episode. So sweet.
前にも何人かそういうこと言ってくれた人がいた。
Oh, but no
で
one
もみんな
actually
すぐい
backed
な
it
くなる
up.
の。
Yeah.
船の下見、次の土曜ここに来て、
Okay.
そしたら本気だって信じる。
Wow.
All right. Let's do this.
Who needs a plan? Let's go on an adventure. Well, she's scared. She's scared
Oh, she
silly because
totally is. Yeah.
this is so much bigger than what
Right.
she
Asking
could've
something
thought.
like that, it's like that's. Yeah.
Okay. Now the test.
お姉ちゃん、土曜だからっていつまでもねって。
She's already gone.
She's already gone. Yeah. You know what they might just be doing is just checking out boats to see if they can actually go. Sure. Not
Yeah.
actually to.
赤道を抜け、嵐
Oh
を
no,
抜
they're
け、
going on this boat.
氷
Okay.
終わり。
どうやって行くつもり？
知りたい？
The smile.
口元が
Yeah, they're like.
と笑う。
It's like almost the nyah smile.
Yeah,
yeah.
Not, you know.
Oh yeah.
動き出した。
Okay.
Oh, this
That
is
was a very
so
sweet
warm
episode.
and happy, and
Just
wholesome
fluffy
and,
and like
oh,
good.
So, like, the main themes of this episode was kind of about freedom and how the whole idea of freedom is actually kind of scary to a lot of people.
Right. Going after your dreams and doing those things that seem so far out there that well just out there, whatever that is, right? It can be
just beyond your horizon, essentially.
Exactly.
So it's scary to go out into the unknown without a plan, and even more so to go, even further beyond just what's beyond your horizon, going into something that you have really no grid for.
Yeah.
To where you're then thinking of this, how could something go wrong? It's no.
Exactly.
You can do all kinds of things like that, especially when you have someone else who's doing it with you.
Right.
So I think that was the main thing that separated Tamaki and the other girl, was that Tamaki needed someone, to go.
Yeah.
The other girl was going to go eventually, no matter what, but she was extra motivated to do it now.
Exactly.
Because Tamaki bumped into her life and stuff.
Yeah, she's no longer doing it alone.
Right.
Which
is so sweet.
One of the things that I really like about how they set this up, because the idea of, like, say, going to Antarctica, right?
Right.
That can make for a great story, but in order to make it be a really great story, because I get the feeling that's what this is, you need to have something that basically ties it back into our everyday lives, even if we can't relate to the specific act of wanting to travel somewhere as the means by which they are, going beyond their horizons.
For sure.
But because they kept it so that they mentioned a lot of different things, not just the idea of, say, going to Antarctica. The idea of I want to get the most out of my youth, right?
Yeah.
Who hasn't thought or felt that at some point or other? And it's the idea of then backing that up with the actual action to do something concrete where you can say, okay, yes, I am actually getting the most out of my youth.
Right.
And, that can start with something as simple as taking a train in a different direction, right?
Yep.
And you've never done that before. To saying, all right, I guess I'm going to Antarctica.
Yeah. The whole beginning part was basically to set up Tamaki as being this, or Tamaki. I think Tamaki is how you say it. I've been saying it wrong this whole time, but whatever.
I think it might be Tamaki.
Either way, the main character having this desire to basically do something different, do something that's outside of the norm. She made a point of how, look at me, I'm going on a train away from school while all the other people are doing normal things at school.
Right.
And her doing that abnormal, so to speak, thing means more to her, because I feel like she's supposed to be the restless character that doesn't know exactly where that restlessness should be aimed at.
Because I get the feeling like they've set her up as basically this character where she hasn't really dealt with her restlessness in the sort of the earlier parts of her life. So, she hasn't ever skipped school, right? She just kept going to school because that's what she did, right?
Right.
Whereas her friend is like, oh yeah, I've done that before. Yeah, plenty of times. Probably when she got restless or whatever and just, dealt with it in that way.
Right.
But because she hadn't, now it's like, okay, what did she do? And, the slightest thing is a huge leap for her.
Right.
And then someone comes along that is proposing what would be for anyone an impossible leap. Right. And for her, that's just like...
Oh, but there's something so sweet and just wonderful about having a character who has a lot of insecurities about kind of what their future will be like.
Sure.
You kind of have this idea that she's so sporadic and just all over the place,
but not like sticking to like
in the present.
One thing. Yeah.
Yes, that she can't really focus on doing something and setting goals for the future.
Sure.
So she has specific goals that are very matter of fact. I want to skip a day of school.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
She has other ones that are not so concrete and are way more nebulous. Yeah. Like, make the most out of my youth, and it's like, oh, haven't we all had that goal? But it's like that's one of the most like disappointing goals out there, because you're basically doomed to fail if you don't set like specific, measurable, attainable, realistic,
that
and
whole smart
time
thing. Yeah, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound.
Or reasonable.
Yeah.
And time related.
And because a lot of times, and I know for myself especially, I'll have some goal like that that's nebulous and stuff, and be like, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But then I never really define like what I would consider to be making the most out of my youth, for instance. Right. And because of that, I've constantly just failing to reach the goal because I never actually properly defined what the win is. Yeah.
Right. So Tamaki or whatever, she gets almost like the universe granting her this chance encounter that it's a 1 in a million, just would never have happened. I intentionally did that. Yeah. Thank you for laughing, because I thought it was stupid. But having this opportunity and having things all line up with her being actually in the school with this person, and coming into a situation where the other person then responded in a positive way, and didn't like assume she was a thief, or something like that. Like she thought she was going to assume that, and they became fast friends almost like immediately, just over something so simple. It's almost as if like, there's this idea that adventure is always calling to you, and it's this thing that you can have, but you have to take little fearful steps.
Yeah.
You have to take steps outside of your comfort zone. You have to go beyond what's through what's normal, and you have to take those little curious risks. And hers was not really a big one. She's just returning the money, right?
Yeah.
Like she could have taken it to the police, which would probably have been the right thing to do.
She could have tried to keep the money,
which would have been horrible.
And that probably would have destroyed her psyche.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it would have ended up causing more problems than solving any. But with how like perfectly this all aligned up, the person who is actually going to save her from her doldrum life is someone who needed someone like Tamaki in order to save her from no one believes in me. No one wants to take this journey upon themselves with me, and then suddenly boom. It's just it's so wonderful.
I want to quote Iroh and Kamina at the same time, because there's the idea of sometimes the best way to solve your own problems is to help someone else solve theirs. But then there's also, believe in the me who believes in you, you know? Yeah. Like the idea that she didn't believe in herself, right? Tamaki didn't believe in Tamaki, but she believed in her dream, in Antarctica's dream,
right?
And own that name, to go to Antarctica.
Right.
So she believed in her, and because of that, Antarctica was like, hey, why don't you come with me? And then because of that, she's going to be able to start believing in herself, and yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of making us care about the characters really quickly.
Like there's something that Jacob and I have talked about repeatedly, and you mentioned it in the episode. So
having a main character that
cares, and Tamaki has this passion that is rifled with insecurities and relatable little flaws.
Walking contradiction.
Yes, she's a walking contradiction, but she's so excited about basically any kind of positive reception to herself around her. Like whenever her friend would say the slightest nice thing to her, she's just, oh yes, okay, awesome. And you get this feeling that she's really passionate about other people. She really cares deeply, but she's kind of the typical high schooler who doesn't know where to direct all of this emotional energy.
Right.
She has a lot of it, and she has little gumption and drive and little goals and things, but she's, crippled by her own short-term fears. She's she's not the most how would I say this, put together kind of individual.
Yeah, she's still figuring
everything out. And it's like, that's so relatable.
Yeah, that's so relatable because, I mean, come on, if you want to say that you never went through that, like, then either wait or you're lying.
But in particular, she was so quick to jump on the whole idea of going to Antarctica because it means something more to her than really anything that's going on with this other character's mother. Like, she really does care about her and is like, oh my gosh, your mother? Like, whoa, I'm going to go check out that book. I want to vicariously essentially grab onto the vision that you have.
Exactly.
Because I know it's going to be freeing for me.
Yep.
And I think that's where she's kind of beyond her years in terms of just maturity of understanding how
being willing to believe.
Yes, being willing to believe and realizing how important freedom is, and kind of focusing her mindset to value freedom above like almost everything else.
Right. It almost seems like it's one of those things that most of us have at some point early on in our lives, but we end up losing it because we stop believing. And that's why like this episode did such a good job of showing how important it is to, one, believe in your own dreams, and also to believe in someone else's, right? Because I can imagine that while Antarctica puts up the front, and all that stuff of like, oh, all those times that they ridicule me, that's just gonna make it even better for when I prove them wrong.
Right.
That's the good day.
Yeah.
What about
the bad days? Yeah.
Right.
And they'll still need someone who's a believer that pushes them onward.
Yeah, even when they go into a bathroom stall and just scream and bang their head against the wall,
I felt so bad for her. Because I haven't ever lost a big wad of money like that, but I've done really stupid things. Like, there was one time where I almost got fired from a job because I essentially liquidated, no pun intended, about like $2,000 worth of ice cream. And like... I was like, oh no,
next day,
God.
Soup the entire Christmas.
I'll tell that story at some point, but like I was coming into work like, I'm gonna get fired. I'm so like, I'm like 15, 16 years old or something. I'm like, I don't know, this is gonna be horrible. And my boss is just like, hey, it's gonna be okay, dude. You're cool. Just help clean up and we'll work it out. And I was just like, thank you so much.
And like, okay, as far as ways to make us care not just about the main character, but also this other character that they're introducing, right?
Yeah.
Who essentially doesn't really have a connection to the main character at this point in the story, right? They develop that later, but ideally you want to care about the character when that connection to the main character happens, right? You already want to have that foundation.
Yeah.
And they did that in a fantastic way by making it be, oh, they had a lot of money and they lost it. And they're just like, why?
But also, that's another thing. It's the main two characters that we have already they both care deeply in their own specific ways. And this is something that I think anime has a little bit of an advantage of. The overly dramatic emotional responses to little things
that
and
you
to
can
big
craft
things,
bit by bit, frame by frame.
exactly, is so good, because when you have, say, something horrible like that happen, we empathize with the person,
because if for some,
because their world
somehow
is ended,
right, like
your life savings, fell out.
Because here's
of
the
your
thing:
purse
this isn't just
like your handbag.
$10,000. This is, you're in high school. You've been working part-time jobs. Getting $10,000 would not happen overnight.
No,
it would take a
long
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they didn't use to buy a car or anything like that, right?
Buying a car in Japan, Jacob, is not as easy as here. But the point is that when she had the elation of realizing that her dream was saved by this random girl who just kind of stuttered in with her this
and just sort of holds it up,
and
yeah.
You can tell that where this story is going is it's going to just deepen the bond between the characters. And then what Antarctica represents is basically kind of the coming of age.
Right.
It's basically
them pushing their boundaries.
Yeah. They're basically taking their own power into account and making active choices.
Yep.
Now the thing is that they started this off with all the sunshine and the lighting and the beauty and the pictures and the music, and it's just so beautiful. But let's be real here. Antarctica is not a safe place. No. It is very, very hostile environment for people.
Right. And because of that, it's probably like, even if with the money, it's probably not going to be easy to actually get down there.
Yeah. So what I'm looking forward to is the expedition having really high highs and actually pretty decently low lows.
Yeah, I can see
where
that.
The main characters in this expedition of sorts kind of come to, not like no one's gonna die or anything, but like to grips with like, what does taking risks and going on an adventure for the sake of itself mean.
Yeah.
And for other characters like the girl who's just introduced after Tamaki, she's looking for her mom. Is she actually going to find her mom? Is she going to find her dead mom? We don't know how this is all going to turn out, but what this is going to be is not just like the bonds of friendship, but it's going to be the bonds of like just going, like when you decide to go and take a leap with some people. It puts you into a situation. Well, basically, the
bonds
phrase
forged in the fire.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But the phrase of like, if you ever want to get to know someone really well, go traveling with them, because you'll see like who they really are.
Sure.
I think that this will be a very powerful growing time for Tamaki, because she's going to be basically laid vulnerable to all these other girls as just as much as they are to her.
Sure.
Because her true self will be basically allowed to be on display during the traveling and the circumstances that go well and don't go well.
Potentially even before, because here's the thing.
Yeah.
All right, one girl has 1,000,000 yen. Great. I don't think Tamaki does.
Yeah.
And if there's 4 of them that are going to be going, well, where are they going to get it? There's the one girl that they showed at the end that was working. Okay, so maybe she's got some savings or something.
Right.
But, like...
That's the thing. I think that's where this show is going to have some of the most wholesome and wonderful moments, is that where they basically all form this mini little family. And they all have to pool their resources. Hard. They have to work hard.
Yeah.
They have to make sacrifices in order to make this work for each other just as much as themselves. And that's the good stuff. That's the tugs my heart and gives the positive, just warm, happy feelings.
I get the feeling this is going to be one of those shows where like there's going to be a lot of happy feelings. There will probably be a lot of tears.
Yeah.
And some of them might be sad tears, but a lot of them will also be the happy tears. Where it's just like, this is so beautiful. I just don't know what to do.
Because this is a show about growing up
Yep.
This is a story about adventure and just kind of making bold choices.
Going after your
dreams.
Yeah.
And we started off with the main character who's a believer and a dreamer that struggles at being a believer and a dreamer.
Right.
And that's just super realistic. So if, as we go into these other characters, they all have their kind of unique, specific thing that they're believing and dreaming in, but they're kind of all vicariously pulling on each other.
Yeah.
That can either be just the best thing ever, where they just become super tight-knit, which I think it's going to be both of these things. Or it can also be the thing where one person can falter for just a little bit, and then suddenly the whole thing...
I get the feeling...
they don't have as strong a foundation to go on. And it's going to be actions made by individuals within the main group that keep things cohesive, but also keeps everyone kind of looking forward and moving forward so that no one gives up or
I
falters.
Get the feeling that this show's finale or penultimate episode or whatever is basically going to be like when they actually arrive in Antarctica, assuming they do. And that basically a lot of the story is going to be them basically overcoming the hardships and the obstacles that lie in their way in order to get there. Because I want to really feel like that sense of yes, you did it when they finally get to Antarctica.
I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I'm going to say that there's going to be at least 4 episodes, potentially even 6 episodes where they're in Antarctica, because the thing that's the main goal here in terms of plot is actually finding the mother.
Oh,
in addition to getting to Antarctica.
Okay.
So they're going to get to Antarctica relatively quickly comparatively to what you're thinking.
Maybe have some time skips or something while they're working to save up money and such.
Well, I think you're also overestimating some of the difficulties in getting to Antarctica. Their main issue is just getting an expedition.
Gotcha.
I think if they can get a legitimate expedition, 10,000 yen or a million yen is actually a decent amount to make this happen.
No, I would say that's enough for one person.
I know you went to you went to
Australia, New Zealand.
New Zealand and stuff, and it's expensive.
Yeah,
it's expensive. But I think that there's a difference in this case because they're not necessarily setting out to go there for a really long time. And once they're already there in an approved expedition, there might be resources made available to them as an expedition going into Antarctica. So it's not that they're going to be alone in all of this. In fact, that's one of the things I'm also looking forward to, is their dream, their passion, their vision, inspiring people who are not a part of their group to help them along the way to make their journey more and more possible. It's going to be basically... If
they want to do a real gut punch, power of friendship type thing, yeah, they could do something where a bunch of students at the school end up doing some sort of crowdfund thing or whatever to help them get there, or
that too. Or I'm just talking about the captain of the boat just being wow, you're actually doing this. You realize how crazy this is, right? And they're we don't care. We're going to do this. And he's you know what? He's talk to this guy.
Sure.
He's going to help get you some really good survival gear down there.
Yeah, exactly.
And just say my name and they won't pay. You won't have to pay a thing. And it's really?
Yeah.
And it's your girls are fantastic. Go achieve your dreams. It's those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I'm ready to cry already. I can feel it. My eyes are already heating up.
Yeah.
Okay.
This
is a good start to a show.
Yep, really good first episode. Really made us attached to the characters, which is what is most important. Thank you.
Yeah, have fun editing this down.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys want to see the next episode's reaction right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about stories or what have you. And yeah, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.